Okay, guys, happy Saturday. It's Saturday morning, 8 a.m., a little after 8 a.m. Because of moi. So sorry. But how's everybody doing this morning? Good morning.
Super.
Awesome.
All right. So we are going to get right into it. For anybody that's new, we kind of go around the horn a little bit. You're not required to speak. If you want to speak, we welcome that. You're not required to be on camera. If you want to be on camera, that's fantastic. And even though we call this our walk and talk, you're not required to be walking. As you can see, I'm not. But it's good to get going here. We're going to cover whatever topics people have on their mind as it relates to our HealthPointe program. So, Carol, we always love to kick it off with you. And I don't know where you guys are at these days, so you're going to have to help me out on that. Are you in Vegas or Carolina or Florida or someplace else?
Okay, well, no, this morning we're in Florida, and we're actually going to be in Florida for till the end of January or middle of January when we go to our conference in California. We were going to go up to Michigan, but thank you. Our son said, why don't we come down first part of January instead of you guys having to travel up again. And I thought, oh, that sounds so good right about now. Because today it's going to be 85 here. So, I said, oh, I just don't think I'm going to get on a plane again and go north. Anyway, so yes, we are in sunny Florida. And I was doing my reading this morning. I'm going to keep this quick because I know we have folks that are on that are new and that want to share, and folks that are having really good success with the program. So we want to hear from them. But I just wanted to emphasize one more time what a great program HealthPointe is. And as I look at all the shots and jabs and pills and quickies that are out there that promise you the world, there is just nothing like the HealthPointe Healthy Living Lifestyle Program. And so one of the articles I read this morning, and I'm going to give you the real tip of the iceberg here, but was on fast walking. Of course, I've been a power walker for years and years and years. I was a power walker when my boys were little. It was an exercise I could fit in. And of course, now they're grown and they've got grown kids, and I'm a great grandmother, and I'm still power walking. And it was just saying the benefits of it. And I got this great article, and she does a quick one-liner synopsis. And she says, first of all, she says, fast or slow walking, which is better for your body and bones. And it says how important fast walking is versus taking a stroll. And it says fast walking can help improve heart health and reduce the risk of dementia and early death. And it's an easy exercise routine to incorporate into your daily life. And it helps your bone density, which is very important as time gets on. It says, well, she says here, the number of steps you take isn't nearly as important as starting and maintaining a focused fitness program, which includes regular fast walking to raise your heart. But we all know that the power of 10,000 steps is really important. She says walking is an all-around body benefit, boosting mood and mental activity. And it just goes into a whole just bunch of different things on the power of walking, not only for physical fitness, but also for mental fitness, attitude. It's a great way to get the adrenaline running first thing in the morning, and or whenever you can squeeze it in. It doesn't have to be first thing in the morning, but it's just really powerful. And then there was another article, and I'm not going to go into this right now because it's too detailed, but it's all on glutathione, and I think I'm pronouncing that correct. And it is one of the best antioxidants, and it goes into how it's very, very benefited from taking amino acids. And of course, we have our beautiful muscle multiplier, and it has a complete amino acids, the ones your body produces and doesn't produce. They're all included in that to increase that glutathione, and how important that is for the liver. And the liver, and I'll read you this real quick. It's just very, very quick. But it says the liver, everything we eat or drink eventually reaches your liver for processing. The liver then determines if the food we eat, regardless of how healthy or unhealthy, it gets burned and eventually be stored as unsightly body fat. And by the way, I was getting my Christmas decorations out yesterday from our upper crawl space, and I came upon a 5-pound piece of fat. It's something we used to use visually when we first started a HealthPointe program, so I'm going to bring that with me the next time. But when you say I only lost 5 pounds, and then you look at that and you think, wow, that off my rear end or my stomach, oh, that's a lot of weight. So it's a good visual. But anyway, it says here, there's over 85,000 toxin substances regularly consumed through food we eat, water we drink, air we breathe, and how that wreaks havoc with the liver. And then it says, what's worse, these modern day toxins severely damage liver cells responsible for producing food and energy. And it talks about how important it is for the mitochondria, for the liver to be functioning properly. And we have a great product called Liver Health that we've been taking for years. And it contains the ingredients in all these articles. It contains the ingredients that they're talking about and how important the liver working with the kidney, how absolutely important that is for good health to synthesize vitamin D to get into your bones. And I'm thinking to myself, good grief. It is just like one thing leads to another, to another, to another. And then it was saying how you can increase your glutathione to make sure that you have a healthy amount of it. And all the things that we have in our double X, all of our supplements, all of the things that HealthPointe teaches you about eating, doing a good, strong walk, all of that is included in producing that. And so the point today is I'm just throwing a lot of stuff at you, but the resounding message that I got from these articles this morning is how powerful our program is, because no matter what they said on there, I said, HealthPointe's got it. And wow, HealthPointe has it all. And so I just want to really encourage you people, you folks, that when you think, wow, I'm taking a lot of supplements, or, you know, I'm eating a lot of this, or I'm doing a lot of that, believe me, it's what we should be doing. And most people don't. And so when you do it, you think, wow, this is crazy, but it's the way we're supposed to live. And unfortunately, we've gotten so far away from that. But once you get back into that HealthPointe Healthy Living program and you make it habit forming, it's just very, very natural for you. Let me tell you, it's going to add years and years and years of quality life to you. So I'm power walking, so I'm kind of breathless. But anyway, I'm going to turn it back to you, Eric. And yeah. You got me shooting right out of the cannon right fast this morning.
Well, I love it. I always love it when you kick things off, Carol, because you always have such great content right out of the gate. And it seems like every episode that we're doing, it comes up that we talk about the best form of leadership is example. You know, we heard that was just a principle that was taught through and through by Jim Dornan. And what I love about what you just covered, Carol, is that you're out power walking while you're covering it. And that's not an anomaly. You're always power walking when you're on here. So the article, great. Fast walking benefits, great. All this, great. You know what's awesome is that you're power walking because that's the example. That is very, very cool. And so, and boy, you mentioned about that 5 pound lump of fat. I've seen that. And you're kind of giving me the willies just with the mental imagery of that thing again. You know, for those of us that have seen that, you know, if there's anything to kind of motivate us to get into a healthy weight state, it's just looking at that uh, glob, I guess is the only way to
Yeah.
describe it. It's quite the visual um, element there for sure. So, well, we're going to move along here to David if he's interested and available. But for all of us, as we're moving along here, if you have anything that you want to say, just chirp in and say it, or raise your hand. Sometimes somebody makes a comment and you want to make another comment on that. That's what, we're just kind of riffing through here. But David, I see you and Chris out, and I know the weather that you're dealing with because I was out in it a little bit earlier when I took the dogs out. How you doing, David?
Actually, for or I guess early December, Michigan, it's 40 degrees and could be raining, but it's not right now. So all is well. All is well. And facing the elements, life is great. And what I wanted to share today was the gratefulness for our community and gratefulness for Hank and Carol. But Hank is the master alchemist, and I am the student. And this community talks about out of the box solutions to our health problems. And so, I don't know, a couple months ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, I was really, really tired. And I took my blood pressure. And again, I'm a people person, not a detail person. But my blood pressure wasn't, the top number was fine, but the bottom number was in the 50s, low 50s. And so I did some research, because that's what I've learned from Hank, and found out that's not a good thing. And that actually, sometimes if it gets too low, people pass out. And so now, because I'm an alchemist, instead of going straight to the doctor, I started looking at what can I do to make a change. And so one of the things I did is I got on CoQ10, which is a heart supplement from Nutrilite. I started drinking Himalayan salt water. I'd make a bottle of Himalayan salt water because salt is something that will raise your blood pressure. And I also was drinking like 3 cups of coffee a day to get my blood pressure to go up. Well, I eventually did go to the doctor just to make sure. And what was fascinating is when I told him that I was drinking Himalayan salt water, he had no clue what that was. And it was like, I've been seeing this guy for 30 years. He's a really great doctor. And if I'm sick, he helps me out. We've had many a battle over prescriptions and things like that. But anyways, that was just fascinating to me. Himalayan salt water is, I won't say it's basic, but it's pretty kind of, it's not that out of the box of the out of the box things that I do. Anyways, it was just grateful for Hank and Carol, grateful for Hank, who teaches me to seek solutions that are not pharmaceutical. Anyways, he told me I was fine. My blood pressure has gone up, that lower number's in the mid 60s. He said, I'm fine. Keep doing what you're doing. But
that's great. That's great. Sometimes even if the doctor's maybe not quite informed, it's always good to have them just give you that thumbs up and say, keep doing what you're doing.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that about the salt. I was just actually this morning, I was going through some information from someone that, she's a doctor and somebody that I do quite a bit of lessons and learning through, and it's HealthPointe-ish, we'll just say, but I wouldn't necessarily subscribe. I just don't think that her program is very sustainable for life, but other than that, it's fine. But I mean, if you can't endure with it. But the point that she was making is that when you, particularly if you are used to a high carbohydrate intake, and you switch that to a healthier level, we all talk in HealthPointe about the need to hydrate, right? Half your body weight in ounces of water. But also, to your point, David, She talks about adding salt. She's add salt to coffee. Now, I've never done that. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe that's delicious. I'm not sure. It sounds awful, but a lot of things that sound awful are you go, wow, that's kind of surprised me. It's pretty good. Yeah, she talked about when you're reducing your net carbs, as we do in HealthPointe, 50 to 100 net grams, let's say, you're likely going to need to supplement with salt. And again, to your point, David, is a good quality salt as well. So yeah, and that was just this morning.
I was tempted. I was going to eat a bag of Lay's potato chips each day to get my salt intake.
I love it.
Himalayan salt has all these other minerals and things that our body needs. And so anyways, yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you so much.
Tying in with the Himalayan salt, can I interrupt for just a moment?
Yes.
There is a Dr. Mercola who Hank has mentioned many times, and he has a little 10-minute video on Himalayan sea salt and hydrogen peroxide, the food grade, and adding small amounts of that into water and putting it in a nebulizer and breathing that in when you have respiratory. And we never had COVID, but the one thing in all those period of time we did pick up was a little bit of a respiratory thing that kind of hung on for a few weeks. And so we would breathe in that stuff, and it was just very, very helpful. And that's, again, the Himalayan sea salt. So yeah, sometimes doing your research, being your own best doctor, and then, of course, going to your medical professional, making sure you're on the right track and things are being taken care of. But I think in many, many cases, you can't just find answers yourself, that maybe even the doctors, because they study in a different realm. So anyway, back to you, Eric.
Yeah, no, and just, and to put additional emphasis on the point that you're making there, Carol, it's not to cut on traditional doctors at all, but just a fact, and that is Dr. Robert Lustig, who is, if you're not familiar with him, really, really great source of material, particularly on the diabetes realm, because he's one of the leading endocrinologists in the nation. But and he pointed out that the traditional MD path has, at the point of that teaching that he was giving, had a total of 6 hours of nutritional education and nutrition. 6 hours in an entire multi-year educational platform for becoming a traditional MD. So it's not that we ever, I mean, I respect doctors very much, and we use them, in an appropriate sense. But I also have to recognize that if somebody's come out of a classic system where they've only spent a total of 6 hours on nutritional science, I'm sorry, but that's a little bit subpar. So that's just not to cut on them, but just to point out some facts. And so,
one more fact.
Yes.
That food grade hydrogen peroxide and Himalayan salt, that was something that Hank shared with me over like little over 3 years ago, when I started my journey with having COPD. And I started using that nebulizer when I would do my Wim Hof breathing treatments. I've done that for 3 years. I continue to do that in order to keep my lungs. I still have lung issues. I'm not like 100%. And that helps me stay healthy and not get sick. And then one more side note, my granddaughter, who was in a musical play, and she had a bad cold, sore throat. She was a mess. And so 4 days before I took my nebulizer over there, she started doing the breathing treatments along with the triple tickle and double X. And within 4 days, she was able to sing and dance. And so Hank and Carol provide some unbelievable clues to better health if you'll take advantage of them.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Yep. I so appreciate, and it's not just because we're in this season of Thanksgiving, right? It's just we're very, very thankful for sure for Hank and Carol. Never enough though, right? Isn't that
Never enough.
what Nancy says? Very grateful, but never enough. So thank you, Hank and Carol. Thank you, David. And we are going to move around the horn, and sorry for not giving much of a heads up. I'm going to drop over to you, Marilyn, if you care to. We'll, and then after Marilyn, Erica, or if Marilyn is not able to jump on here, I'll give you I'm watching the microphone, Marilyn. If I see it go unmuted, I'll give you some chat time here. If I don't, I'll speak on your behalf, actually. In fact, let me go ahead and do that because it looks like you're staying muted, because you have said anytime you did speak, I said, I asked you if you wanted to share your numbers because you're active in the 6-week cycles of the HealthPointe program. And let me just go ahead and speak on your behalf because you have said it's okay. That you are, as of your last check-in, 23.6 pounds down.
Woohoo!
Yeah, way to go, Marilyn.
Way to go, awesome.
Yep. And she started, we'll call it September. Okay, so moving along there, just tracking very, very well, and has some other effects on some of her numbers, likely due to some of the drugs that she has to take for her. And again, Marilyn, you've been clear and vocal on this, so I don't feel like I'm speaking out of school, that you have various cancer treatments that you're taking, and that can have some effect on some stubborn effects on some blood sugar readings. But you're getting healthier and healthier with your weight, and you're definitely fueling your body with great macronutrients and great micronutrients with that steady regimen of nutrition. So there you go, Marilyn. I'm speaking on your behalf, but we will move along to Erica, if you're interested in speaking this morning. Good morning, Erica. There you are. How are you?
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I have a fun thing to share. So this week I had a very long work day on Wednesday. I didn't get home till like 7:30, and usually I have a to-do list of everything that needs to get done. And I said, I am just gonna sit on the couch for an hour and scroll Netflix and see what there is. And I stumbled upon this comedian, Mike Birbiglia, and it was fantastic. And there was so much HealthPointe in there. He talks about meeting with his cardiologist and getting his blood work and kind of fighting.
Oh, we might have lost you there briefly, Erica. I don't know if anybody else can hear her.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Erica, we lost you briefly there, Erica, just at the point where you were saying that he was meeting with his cardiologist. You said there were so many HealthPointe items in there in this comedy special. And then you said he was meeting with his cardiologist, and then we lost your connection.
Turn into swimming at the YMCA. And anyways, it's called Mike Birbiglia, the old man in the pool. And I highly recommend it if you guys want a laugh. And he gets diagnosed with diabetes, and he ends up reversing it in the end, which is so cool from a comedian's point of view. So highly recommend that. Another couple things. So my client, Lisa, who has joined a few times, she met her ultimate goal, and she's down 20 pounds, 23 pounds to be exact.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Congratulations, Lisa.
Yeah,
Way to
Lisa,
go,
way to go.
Lisa.
Oh
Did we
gosh,
knock her out?
Erica. Yeah. All our hooting and hollering
Yeah, right.
blew up our Zoom meeting. We lost you again, Erica.
I'm so sorry.
No
Did
problem.
did you hear that Lisa met her ultimate goal?
Yes,
She lost
23 pounds.
pounds. Yeah, she
Yep.
did.
Yeah.
She was thinking about joining today. She couldn't, but she did want to share one thing that she likes doing is adding 1 scoop of raw cocoa powder to the chocolate protein shake. And she said, you know, there's 0 calories, no sugar, and it makes it much more rich and chocolatey and creamier. And she wanted to give that as a suggestion.
Oh, I like that.
I
Give
haven't
that
tried
to
it yet.
give that again. You say it's 1 what of raw cocoa powder?
I think 1 tablespoon.
Okay.
1 big scoop. Yeah. And, you know, she's also into listening to podcasts in the morning and diving deep into the health scheme. And, you know, I forget which podcast she was listening to, but the amount of benefits just from raw cocoa.
Oh, we lost you there after raw cocoa. So Erica, you're coming in and out of connectivity, but we did catch that on the raw cocoa. So you might come back into connectivity here in a moment. While we're waiting to see if Erica's connectivity comes back on, and it looks like it has just come back on, but just another thing on the raw cocoa, and I guess maybe circling back around to some things that David was covering, I always add salt to my mixture. I really like that pinch of salt. And so if I'm doing, you know, a drink, I usually do my little concoction is like a cup of cooled down coffee that I put in the glass or the container, and then a cup of almond milk, and then I do the chia seeds. So I do like 9 grams of soluble fiber in the chia seeds, and then I do our protein powder, and then I do a pretty decent amount of salt. You know, I just kind of grind it into the palm of my hand and dump it in there. But I would say it's more than a pinch, I'll tell you. And I just find that added salt, just from a flavor standpoint, but then also to David's point about getting that extra salt, which we often need, because if you're eating lots of carbohydrates and processed food, guys, there's sodium like crazy in that stuff. I mean, go look at a loaf of bread or a can of Campbell's soup. You won't believe how much salt is in that stuff. And you start eliminating that stuff from your diet, and you do need to fortify it. But anyhow, back to you, Erica. Looks like you've got a steady connection here. You've got the cocoa powder, maybe about a tablespoon. Great tips and tricks from Lisa. Love that.
Yeah.
And then also, she was a source, as I understand, that was a source of some new folks for you.
Yeah, so Lisa went and had her hair appointment, and her stylist said, "Oh my gosh, you look fantastic. What have you been doing?" So Lisa, you know, bragged about the HealthPointe program. And so now Marie, who's her hairstylist,
We lost her again. You know, this episode is full of cliffhangers, right? We lost you again, Erica. We are being suspicious here that you're doing this on purpose, because at every cliffhanger, first you're telling us about this great Netflix special, and right at the punchline, bonk, you're gone. And then talk about cocoa powder, and it's right at the punchline, bonk. And then we're all like waiting with bated breath about this hairdresser Marie, and then bonk, you're gone. So quit playing around here.
You know what I've noticed is my neighbor
We lost
For our
you.
walk and talks, I gotta stay at home and not walk.
Oh, well, you can do
No,
the
just
Kathy-
walk in your
Walk-
backyard. Erica,
Yeah,
walk
Yeah.
in your backyard like you did when you first started. Remember when I was on and I was walking around the house and you said I
Yeah.
encouraged you and you were walking in your backyard? Just stay in your
Yeah,
backyard. That way you'll have the
I'm
Wi-Fi.
gonna have to do
Trust
that.
me, you can still get a ton of steps. I mean, hello. We're
Yeah,
talking to the steps queen who does it in the house all the time.
right
awesome.
on.
I'm almost to my backyard, so I'll be pacing there. But yeah, one last.
Oh. Oh, this is hilarious. She says one last thing, bonk, and she freezes.
Boom.
Oh my gosh. Oh geez. Oh,
Maybe
you're
I
killing us.
needed to do some comedy today, I guess.
This is
right,
better
well,
than
I'll
that. This is better than
pass
that
the buck.
Netflix. Oh, all right. Well, we'll circle back to you when you're in your yard there. And
Alrighty.
in the meantime, we will go to internet stable Kathy, getting some steps inside her house there. Good morning, Step Queen Kathy. How you doing?
Good morning, everybody. I am doing awesome. Today is 1 year, 246 days consecutively.
Woo, yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, I was able to do it on Thanksgiving, like I said before. And Sunday, last Sunday, I was a little bit under. It was funny. We Mom and I even went, I don't know, where'd we go? We went to breakfast, and then we went to one store, and I got back to her house and I'm like, oh my God, I only have 2,700 steps so far. And it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, this is crazy. But we were, we had to put up her tree and we were doing things. So luckily by the time we got done with her tree and everything, and I got back home, I was like around 7,200. So I had about 2,800 to hammer out here Sunday night, but I did it. There was no way I was missing it. So again, it is who I am. I cannot wait for the day that I can say 2 years consecutively
Yeah,
of
it's
10,000
coming.
steps a day. And it is
close.
coming, you know? Yeah.
Kathy, so did you
Yes.
take your ornaments and put them in the basement? And then you went down the basement, got one ornament at a time, came up the stairs and put it on the tree?
You know, if I would have done that, I would have definitely met that goal. No, the boys were sweet and they carried the ornament bins upstairs actually Saturday night. So we were ready to rock and roll on Sunday afternoon. And as soon as the Red Wings game was over, then they were ready to come in and really hammer out the tree with us. But no, that you're right. That would have been a good way to do it. But I know every time we realized that we were missing something downstairs, I'm like, I need steps, I'll get it. I need steps, I'll get it. They're like, okay. So
I use your laundry technique often.
Yeah. I think like folding clothes.
Yep. I did that Wednesday. I did that Wednesday night too, because Wednesday was a really, really, really crazy day at work. And I only actually even got like, I don't know, 3,000 steps at lunch, because I ended up talking to a couple people in a standing atmosphere and wasn't walking yet. And I'm like, oh my God, I only got 3,000. This sucks, you know, but I had laundry to do. So yeah, I did just that with the one load of laundry too. So again, it's all about just getting them in somehow. But now, Carol, I'm starting to think, okay, maybe now I need to make like half of these 10,000 a power walk.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes honestly at work at lunch, I do get up a pretty good clip in the lobby, because number one, it's cold up there. So if I can get a pretty good clip, then I warm up a little bit. At least it's one time of the day I'm warm. So I'm thinking, you know, maybe I need to try to enhance that a little bit to make this, you know, come a little further.
Well, I know a lot of you live in a northern climate, but if you can get out the door and do a power walk during our walk and talk in the mornings, Saturday mornings, that is 10,000 steps. By the time I get back home, it's 10,000 steps. So, you know, but obviously if it's miserable cold, you can't do that, but.
Or we don't have good internet connections.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's true.
But in the good weather, I used to walk around the pool outside in the backyard. So I could do that as long as there's not snow, so I don't slip and fall in.
Yeah, it all
I'll
works
tell you.
focused.
Tell you the other thing is the steps, you know, and Dave is, I know, only half joking when he's talking about, you know, going down and getting one ornament and coming back up, but boy, I tell you, you go up and down the stairs, and that can
Morning.
either be, going down the stairs and turning around, coming back up, or what I do is because I do a lot on that knees over toes guide, the Ben Patrick method for just strengthening your, connective tissue in your knees and getting healthy knees. And boy, it's been helpful for me. But I'll go downstairs and I'll have a hand on the rail, particularly if I'm looking at my phone, and I'll just go slowly back upstairs. And oh my gosh, do even just like 5 minutes of that. Now, I'm not even talking 20 minutes, 5 minutes. And tell me if you don't feel your heart pumping in your chest. I mean, it will break you into zone 2 really quick. And it also is wonderful for strengthening that, it's that walking backwards, but it's walking backwards almost like a squat type of a thing, because, when you go backwards upstairs, it's really blowing out your quads. So, yeah. Well, Kathy, anything else before we move along?
No, not really. Just a couple of people. I reached out to a couple coworkers over Thanksgiving and wished them a happy Thanksgiving thing. And the 2 that I've sent the 10,000 step video to, I'm like, good luck getting your steps in today. They're like, oh yeah, I'm trying, but they both did come in and I saw them on Monday and they were like, hey, I managed to do like 7, one got 7,500 and one got 6,500, and I'm like, well, hey, I'm like, that's pretty good, and I'm like, remember I told you Rome's not built in a day, and so they're like, yeah, but if only I could just keep it up each day. And I'm like, it's just a conscious effort that's all it is. I'm like, watch that video again, you'll be okay. So
yep. And your influence is powerful. I can tell you, well, just like yesterday, I was at a kind of deficit at the end of the day, and Emily and I got done with dinner, and I went and rounded out my steps. And so I have to tell you, you're kind of in my mind, when I do that, because I'm like, oh, darn it, Kathy's doing it. so thank you for continuing to set that awesome example and cranking it out here now 1 year and 246 days, which is just awesome. It's just awesome on so many levels. So moving along, Erica, I did see that you were back. You're back, a stable camera and stable connectivity there. So no more cliffhangers. You were saying that Lisa was getting her haircut, Marie, and then we lost you.
Oh yes. So hopefully I don't cut out this time. All right. So Marie was her hairstylist, and Lisa just talked so great about the HealthPointe program. She's done phenomenal. She's also doing a lot of reading and research in the health realm, and just kind of like how Carol kicked it off was, HealthPointe just aligns so much with all of these avenues for metabolic health and longevity and mental health and all of that. And so Marie decided to join. And the little caveat on Marie is, she's vegetarian. And so I was wondering how this was going to work. But between the protein shakes and the protein bars, she does eat eggs and dairy and tofu and tempeh. So between that, we're getting her started on the program. And she said she's willing down the line to slowly add in some fish, just for health purposes. She's a little reluctant to it, but made that comment. And then she said she really wanted to do it more so for, to get her mom involved as well. So her and her mom have joined together. Her mom's name is Stephanie, and they're both going to be starting on Monday. And Stephanie really wants to do the program because of her blood work. She is told she's borderline pre-diabetic, and her total cholesterol, HDL, LDL was not where it should be, and she doesn't want to be a high risk for heart disease. So I'm really excited to get these two on board, and really kind of, looking forward to working with a mother and daughter together. That'll be a good combo.
Oh man, that's exciting and such a natural progression, right? We talk, from a template standpoint that in this program, it's and Carol has heard me say it's VV, visual and viral, right? When somebody is a great example of the outcome of the program, like Lisa, and then that's very visual, and then it's just very viral, right? Because people are excited about their own health, and there's just something natural in us. We want to help others if we've been helped, and so certainly if somebody opens up that door and asks you, then it's really, really viral on that. So that's exciting. So Marie is the daughter, Stephanie is the mom, right?
Correct. Yep.
All right, that'll be a fun combo. It's always nice. I know, Carol, you often point to one of the audios, the Network 21 audios, that is a panel talking about, well, one of the subjects that they talk about that in there is just the more you can integrate your family in with a program or a friend, it's just very, very helpful. What is difficult, and we recognize, is if there's like say a husband and wife or something like that, where one is doing HealthPointe and the other one is not. That is a tough environment, right? So, but this mother-daughter combo will be really fun. And on the note of the one, I guess it's the daughter that is vegetarian, yeah, she may really, really enjoy this, because as we know with our Nutrilite Organics, that's 21 grams of protein per serving. And I don't know what everybody else finds, but I find where people, non-vegetarians, right, meat eaters, etc., they often are lacking in adequate amounts of protein. In fact, it's very difficult if you do the numbers on it to get. Now it depends on what you're calling adequate, right? Okay, there's different numbers out there in terms of how many grams per day, in terms of your body weight. But just remember, when you're talking, say, a X amount of ounces of chicken or X amount of ounces of beef, that doesn't mean that is that amount of protein. That means that chunk weighs that much. You need to convert and see what is the amount of protein in that chunk. And so when you do that, oftentimes you look, God, how am I going to get to a healthy amount of good protein in the course of a day? And even for non-vegetarians, full-on meat eaters, it's very difficult to do in many cases. But what's the solution? One of the solutions is to use really dense protein products like our Nutrilite Organics product, where you're getting 21 grams at a pop. I mean, it's not uncommon to have a couple of those. I know I routinely have one of those in the morning. I'll often have another serving later in the day in the form of almost like a pudding or a gelatin, jello type of a thing with some chia seeds and stuff. It's basically the same thing as a shake. It's just less liquid in it. And so between those two things, you've got 40, 50 net grams of protein. And many meat eaters struggle to get that if they're not doing that. So our Nutrilite Organics is just an incredible product for across the board. So Carol, did you have a comment on that too?
Well, yes. I totally ditto you on all of that. I think that is such a powerful product. And what's exciting, and I just got them in, there's sample packs now that you can give to a person to try. And it gives all your ingredients and everything on the container. So it's really a very professional and nice way to share that with somebody, to encourage them how tasty our organics are, and our organic line is going to continue to grow. But one other thing I wanted to also interject, and I was just reading about this with the glutathione, was the amount of women who really need protein. And we all need protein because every 10 years you lose muscle mass. Well, every year you lose muscle mass. And protein is your muscle builder, along with the muscle multiplier. And so it's really, really important, especially for vegetarians, to make sure they're getting enough protein. I think the first question I would ask a person, and this is not to, totally address that issue, but sometimes they do it because it's cool. They don't really know why they're vegetarian. I was a vegetarian during a trip to Europe one year. I had no idea why I chose to be a vegetarian, but I was. And sometimes people do it because it's cool or their friend went on it or whatever. So first of all, I would address that, and then also address how vegetarian or vegan are you? Your protein, well, your organics would be a clean, but I particularly love the excess protein shakes, the liquid protein shakes, because of the portability of them. And that's whey protein. And that they tell me that if you are interested in building muscle mass, the excess protein is the better one to go with. If you are interested, like the pods or the liquid, if you're interested in protein as a nutritional addition to your diet, then the organics are. So sometimes it depends on what a person's after too. But what they did mention about the whey protein, which is in the excess protein product, and how important that is in the whole production of the glutathione, which leads to the liver and the kidneys and production of vitamin D. And I mean, it's just like, man, when I was reading this article, it was like one thing after another. It was just a rabbit trail. Every time you took a step, it led to something even better. And too much to cover on, a walk and talk, but pretty amazing, pretty amazing. So what's beautiful is in our product line, we have it all. We've got the excess for wanting to build muscle. We've got the organics for wanting to be lean and clean and what have you. Excuse me, there's a helicopter going. But anyway, I don't mean to ramble, but that was what I wanted to add.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. Yeah, that was great tips and very, very insightful. I'm gonna use some of that and really kind of better understand Marie's stance. So thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, sometimes it's just why, not saying, oh, that's bad. It's certainly not. Just ask why. Oh, what led you to that? And it's really amazing. Sometimes it's absolutely nothing really. And just with a little bit of explanation on the power of protein, clean protein. I'm not talking about, down and dirty protein. I'm talking about, we got clean stuff. And so sometimes when they can realize that, it can be a change of attitude. So
yeah,
I'm going to mute myself because I've got something going on in the sky over here.
Sure. No, that's a good point for all of us to bear in mind, when we run into people that have made a choice, say, to be a vegetarian or vegan, etc., is sometimes it's like they're not sure why, that happens sometimes. It's just, hey, somebody did it, maybe they were just kind of following the crowd. Sometimes it's a cultural thing. We certainly know certain ethnicities, maybe Indian, etc., that might be something that's a little bit more dominant there. It could be their belief in the health regions of it, but the point being, as you so great, you point out so well, Carol, is peel the onion, peel the layers of the onion, ask the questions, and find out. If nothing else, you just find out what their thinking is behind it. Doesn't mean that they would change that stance or should change that stance. We just want to, as facilitators in our efforts to help them, we want to understand as much as we can about their choices that they're currently making. And so that is really, really great. Because I think sometimes, I know with myself in the past, somebody said they're vegetarian. It was almost like a third rail topic, right? Oh, don't touch that, right? And I don't know why I had that feeling, but now I'm like, oh, interesting. Tell me more. Why is it that you're how long have you been vegetarian? What led to that choice, and where were you informed on that, and so forth. Just help me understand. And again, not in a judgmental or I want to change you type of a mode, but rather just in a seeking to understand and to come alongside them and help them, get their health results that they want. So
the more of an informative, because sometimes you can learn from that too. Why? And it just, again, it expands your understanding, full understanding of nutrition. Why do people become vegetarian or vegan? So.
Yep, absolutely. I will just say on the a final shot on the vegetarian mode is, I will say that, and maybe you guys find this as well, I do run into a lot, I would say over 50%, over 70% of the vegetarians that they label themselves as vegetarian, they are, call it a dirty vegetarian. In that term means that, you can eat potato chips all day long, or snack crackers, or all this packaged food, and maintain your vegetarian status. I mean, you can eat M&Ms all day and be vegetarian. And I'm using kind of silly examples there, but my point is that more often than not, clearly the majority of the times, I'll just say, 7 out of 10 vegetarians that I would talk to will not be like eating dark leafy greens and vegetables and fruits and tempeh and stuff like that. They're not. And that is definitely something that hopefully they'll self-educate on, or we can come alongside them and help them with that. Again, not in a judgmental standpoint, but just an informed standpoint that, hey, that is processed food. Yeah, it's vegetarian, but watch out, what is your nutritional content in that, box of Doritos or whatever. So, but that said, we're going to move along. We did start a little late because of me, sorry, but we're going to move along, and I'm going to just do a brief segment. Emily's on, but I know she is busy, won't want to be on. We actually have my dad coming up for our Thanksgiving celebration with him, because he was busy skiing. Crazy Coot was out skiing out west and couldn't visit with us on Thanksgiving. So, he's coming up, and so we're getting all kinds of good, healthy food prepared, but we will be doing some Thanksgiving with him today. But after myself, Hank, if you're willing and available, we'd love to hear from you as always. But so what I just wanted to talk about is that if people are not using a glucometer, okay, and this one that I'm holding up here right now is Keto Mojo. It's one that I recommend, but quite frankly, people can use whatever they want. This is something they can go down to their local CVS pharmacy for $20. The Keto Mojo is a little bit more. I believe that's in the $50, $60 range. But I maintain that, everybody should have one of these in their household. It should be, I actually, if I had my druthers, I would say everybody should have a continuous glucose monitor provided to them, or at least available to them, without having to get a prescription. Something that you could pop on to the back of your arm, let it be there for 2 weeks, and monitor the various effects of what you eat and what it does to your blood sugar. What happens when you go on a power walk? What happens when you walk up and down stairs? What happens when you have restless sleep and your cortisol is spiking and you're seeing the effects on your blood sugar? But absent of a continuous glucose monitor, is certainly readily available, like I said, at your local neighborhood pharmacy or on Amazon to pick up a glucometer. And it's super easy. It's not painful or anything. You just use a little lancet that they provide. You poke your finger, get a little drop of blood, and you draw that up. Because and again, I'm speaking mostly for people that are in the hunt of a 6-week cycle and are maybe in the course of reversing a diabetic status. That could be pre-diabetes, that could be full-on diabetes. You have to have that feedback, and also be able to share that with your coach or facilitator that is helping you as well. So I know we just, as I thought about talking about it today, I just thought surely we've talked about this as a tool, and I don't think we have. So I just thought I would throw that out there, that if you are looking to work with someone, in my case, it's pretty much mandatory, along with the daily check-in, that someone is doing something where they can get a measurement on their blood sugar. So I just wanted to comment on that. And
Eric,
yes,
when you first started talking about that at the beginning of our walk and talks, you had mentioned that you need a prescription for that. Is that no longer the case?
You need a prescription for the continuous glucose monitor. That is still the case, unfortunately. So a CGM is a continuous glucose monitor, and that is maybe a quarter or a 50-cent piece size disc that sticks onto the back of your arm and remains there for 2 weeks and is continuously monitoring your blood sugar, and it just ties into an app on your phone. And so you literally see almost like an EKG line, where it's rising and falling based on your various eating and sleeping and exercising and other factors throughout the day. And man, is it powerful. You wear that for 2 weeks, and they only last for 2 weeks, and then you just take them off your arm. But in that 2 weeks, the only danger of them is you can become a little bit fanatical about them. That's the only, there's no danger, but you can almost be like, oh my gosh, what's my blood sugar? And you just wave your phone over your arm, and it'll pull up it'll sync the data, and you can become a little bit geeky about this and be like, oh my gosh, what happens when I do this? And oh my gosh, let me pop an M&M here. Oh my gosh, this is really cool. Because the way to think about it is, if you're poking your finger with a glucometer, you're getting a snapshot. When you're wearing a CGM, it's like a movie, okay? Because it's continuous. So, but to your question, Carol, for a CGM, the current status is, yes, you do need a prescription, and many systems will cost around $200 for that 2 weeks. So, some people would want to look at their insurance and see if that covers it. Since I think Marilyn is still on here, unfortunately with her, even though she has a diabetes history, her doctor still wouldn't give her a CGM prescription. So even if you have diabetes, you may run into resistance from a doctor. I don't understand that. I think Marilyn had said that he said until her A1C is 9.0 or higher, he would not write a prescription. That is like bonkers to me, because the gal that I was working with earlier before we started a meeting today, she has an A1C of 7.1. She's diabetic at 7.1. That's in the diabetic range. So why would a doctor say you've got to wait till you're 9 before I'll write your prescription? I don't get it. But anyhow, I'll get off my soapbox on that.
Tell folks what A1C is, in case you've got somebody that's not familiar.
Yes. So A1C is a measurement. I'll kind of oversimplify it. It's basically measuring a glycation, kind of where we'll just think of it like the sugar sticking to your red blood cells. Okay. And so since your red blood cells cycle every 3 months, right? like so many, we talk about our skin cells and other cells, how you want to build healthy cells because they do die off and get replaced. Your blood cells cycle every 3 months, every 90 days. So what A1C is doing is measuring basically a hemoglobin. A1C is measuring a blood sugar, sugar that is glycated to your blood over the arc of that full life of that red blood cell. Okay, so it's, again, it's kind of a movie versus a snapshot. If you take a glucose reading, it's showing where things are at right then. If you measure an A1C, it shows how your blood has been over the course of its life cycle, how your red blood cells have been over the course of that life cycle. And the bottom line is that if someone has an A1C of, you know, in the 7s, in the 8s, certainly in the 9s, they are full diabetic. They are insulin resistant. And bear in mind that by the time you start reading not only a high A1C, but when you're even registering a high fasting blood sugar, finger prick, if you poke your finger in the morning after not eating for 12 hours and you're registering high, and we'll just say for the sake of conversation, out of range, which is you should be less than 100 millimoles. So if you're above 100, you're registering a high blood sugar. You could be insulin resistant for as long as a decade before it starts registering as a high blood sugar. So I know that goes beyond the answering the question that you had, Carol, but again, A1C is basically measuring the high glucose rating over the course of the life of your red blood cell. Okay.
So is that what they refer to as a sticky blood cell?
Yeah, you could think of it like that because it's a you know, it's a glycation effect. And you know, the fortunate thing is that if somebody has a high A1C reading or any kind of high blood sugar rating, your body can be very responsive to healing that. You know, changing the macronutrients like we do in HealthPointe, changing your micronutrients like we do in HealthPointe, increasing your movement like we do in HealthPointe. All of that can bring your blood sugar into a healthy zone for very, very quickly. So, well, that took more time on my segment than I planned, but Hank, I would love, sorry, Hank, I think Hank, in the future, I'm going to ask you to go before me because I can get a little bit wordy there, but Hank, if you're available and interested, there you are. Good morning, Hank. How are you?
Good morning, guys. I'm great. How are you?
Wonderful.
It's so great to hear all of you and all good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Now, I just want to make this very short. Some of you were on the webcast last Tuesday. We had the Webbs on, Sharon and Jerry Webb. Well, they asked us to partake in their webcast Sunday night. And between Carol and I, we discussed it. And I'm just going to go on and do about 10 minutes about my walk from when my doctor wanted to put me all kinds of medications in my 40s because of my problems I was having, to where today, 90 years old, no medications, okay? So I'm going to walk through that somewhat with a few slides. And anybody would like to want to attend that, we'll get you the invite to be on it. And I think it's at 8 o'clock our time, Eastern time. So is that right, Carol?
Our time. It's 9 o'clock our time.
8 o'clock our time, isn't it?
Or
is it
9?
Oh, it's 9 o'clock our time? Because
Yes.
8 o'clock their time?
Correct.
Okay, all right. So it's 9 o'clock Eastern time. And they're an hour difference. So there'll be Sunday night. Let us know. We'll send you a copy of the invite so you can be on and watch it. All right? Sound good, Carol?
Yep.
All right, guys.
Hey, I'll speak for myself, and I think for everyone, we'd all love that link. So yes, please send it out. That is great. And the webs are awesome. They were so great on your program, and that's awesome. What a great topic to have you on and cover that topic.
So looking forward to it, guys. Hey, keep up the good work. You're all doing great. Love you all.
All right,
Happy
guys.
December.
Yes, happy December, everyone. Thank you so much. We had another fun-filled, informative one today. Have a great rest of your Saturday. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a great week.
You too. Bye-bye.